Meeting of the Town of Abingdon Planning Commission for February 24, 2025 to order. We welcome to Town Planning Commission regular meeting. We appreciate your interest. We encourage public participation in our meeting. Your comments are important to our decision-making process. Please note that there will be two opportunities during the meeting for you to address the commission member. The first will come at the beginning of the agenda when we ask for public comment for items not on the agenda. The second opportunity will be if there's a public hearing on the agenda when the chairman declares the public hearing open for comment. When you approach the podium, you should give your complete name, address, and your comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Roll call.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Thompson?
Present.
Mr. Pennington?
Present.
Mr. Sproles?
Present.
Mr. Wilson?
Present.
And Mr. Schuman.
Present. The next order of business is approval of the minutes regular meeting, January 27, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve them as submitted?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any additional discussion? If not, would you call the roll?
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schuman.
The next order of business is public comments for items not on the agenda. I don't know if anybody signed up for that. Is there anybody here that wants to make a comment for items not on the agenda? Okay, if not, the next order of business is certificates of appropriateness. Number 1, certificate of appropriateness, Christopher Brown, 432 East Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210. Owner, applicant, Jerry Sines, 15775 Porterfield Highway, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210. Representative, certificate of appropriateness for freestanding signage located at 432 East Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210. Parentheses, parcel 014-1-15 in parentheses. Staff report.
Caleb Conklin, planner 1 with the town. Christopher Brown, owner and applicant, and Jerry Sines, representative, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to remodel the existing freestanding sign structure on the north side of the property and on the south side of East Main Street. A little background: the property contains a multi-use building known as Cumbo Square, holding multiple businesses. The applicant proposes to remodel the existing double-sided freestanding sign structure on the north side of the property and on the south side of East Main Street. The existing sign faces will be removed and replaced with new aluminum faces. The existing freestanding sign structure will be remodeled by adding a new aluminum decorative topper and sides as shown in the rendering below. The existing freestanding sign structure will remain LED internally illuminated. The color scheme of the proposed freestanding sign structure will be black, gray, and white, pre-finished onto the aluminum pieces. And then the proposed freestanding sign structure will measure 14.25 feet in height and will be 8 feet wide with 7 sign panels within the structure. And then freestanding signs in the general business district are allowed a maximum height of 15 feet, so this sign does meet the standards of the ordinance. Any questions?
Any questions?
Just one clarification for my purposes.
Yes.
It says that the area of that sign, for a freestanding sign,
Yes.
can be 60 square feet.
Yep.
But, you know, this sign is obviously in excess of that. So, I mean,
If you measure like each panel, it will be
Yeah.
60 square feet or less.
Okay.
We usually don't do the whole sign structure.
okay.
Yep.
So
It's whatever has
more-
the sign faces on
More
it. Yep.
per business or per unit?
Yes. Yep.
Kind of thing? Okay.
Other questions? But this does meet standards required by the ordinance. What's the pleasure of the commission? Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion that we approve the certificate of appropriateness as presented.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any additional discussion? All right, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schuman.
Aye. The next order of business is certificate of appropriateness, Abingdon Antiques and More, 227 West Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210, owner applicant. Jerry Signs, 15775, Porterfield Highway, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210, representative. Certificate of appropriateness for wall signage located at 227 West Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210, parentheses, parcel 012-1-70, end parentheses, staff report.
Abingdon Antiques and More, owner and applicant, and then Jerry Signs representative have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to install a wall sign on the primary south elevation. And then a little background, the building has been vacant for an extended period of time, with the last known business to occupy the building being HMG Primary Care. The Planning Commission also approved a freestanding sign at the last meeting on January 27th, 2025. The applicant proposes to install a non-illuminated flat metal wall sign with applied vinyl graphics onto the primary south elevation of the building face, West Main Street. The proposed wall sign will match the color scheme and design of the freestanding sign approved at the January 27th, 2025 Planning Commission regular meeting. The wall sign is proposed to measure 58 inch by 84.5 inches for a total area of 34 square feet of wall signage. So wall signs are allowed at maximum area of 2 square feet for every 1 linear foot of building face in the B3 district. And then that building face is approximately 65 feet long, so it would allow a maximum of 130 square feet. So that sign meets the standards of the ordinance. And then also, when staff was out there taking pictures, we noticed that there is window signage. So we would ask for the applicant to remove that window signage from the window. They could request for it. You are allowed at 10% of window signage of the actual square footage of the window. But for right now, because that was not proposed and that was not within the application, we would like that to be removed. And then another thing is with that freestanding sign that was recently approved at the last meeting, January 27th. They got approved for that freestanding sign, but that had no lighting with that. So now the applicant is requesting approval of ground-based LED floodlights to illuminate both sign faces, and then that will need to also meet the zoning ordinance of Chapter 44, Section 8-1-3 for lighting standards, but the floodlights proposed do meet those standards.
So are you asking us to approve?
To approve the wall sign that they're asking,
Yeah.
and then to approve the lighting for the freestanding sign that was approved last meeting, and then to also have the window signage removed at this time.
So basically, you would have those two contingent on the removal of the
Yes.
window signs. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Other questions?
Well, so on the last page of this with the pictures, there's that, and then there's the one with the 3 signs. Why are those 3 signs there?
Are you talking about like 3 little strips of wood? Are you talking about that on the last page? Oh.
Next rendering.
This bottom picture.
Oh, okay, yes. That was what the applicant wanted in the beginning, and they were discussing with Jerry Signs. They didn't go before with that. It was just that was part of the one of the proposals. They're not going to go for that. It'll just be the top section alone.
That was confusing. I was like, why would, it's like
But-
a lot of signs.
Are those window signs, do they exist in the windows today?
As of right now, yes.
Did you discuss with the applicant whether or not they're agreeable to removing those?
We have not yet. This was about maybe a week before the meeting, so we were just finalizing all the staff reports, and it was kind of the last minute picture, so we have not yet.
But we can certainly make that a contingency
Sure.
if we wish to.
Yes.
Or if you just want to say, because they're unapproved, you can just say staff has the ability to go out and enforce the sign code and say they weren't approved, you can't have them. So you can either take that route too and not make that, and it's just more on us to just say they weren't approved, you'd have to take them down, and you would just be approving the lighting for the freestanding sign and the wall sign if you feel that way. So we can go either way. So it's up to you if you want to make that contingency, or you can just let staff handle it because they're unapproved, so.
Well, I think they definitely need to be removed one way or the other, and I was just wondering if the applicant was agreeable to doing that.
Yeah, we have not talked to the applicant for Abington Antiques and More personally, no. So.
Personally, I would lean toward a contingency, because the reason I would say that is that would mean that it came from the planning commission as opposed to putting the onus on staff, and I think we would, I think that would be best for us to do. That's just my opinion. Any other questions, discussions? Is there a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for the signage that has been described here today, and make it contingent upon the removal of the 2 small window signs.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
And then you're also approving the lighting.
And the lighting,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me of that. My motion includes that.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any additional discussion? If not, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schuman.
Aye. Next order of business, certificate of appropriateness, Holston Mountain Artisans, 280 West Main Street, Abington, Virginia, 24210. Applicant Jerry Signs, 15775 Porterfield Highway, Abington, Virginia, 24210. Representative. Certificate of appropriateness for wall signage located at 280 West Main Street, Abington, Virginia, 24210, parentheses, parcel 011-8-25, in parentheses.
The applicant, Holston Mountain Artisans, and then the representative, Jerry Signs, have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to install a wall sign onto the primary north elevation of the building. The current business within the building is Holston Mountain Artisans, and then the previous business was Wolf Hills Antiques. The applicant proposes to install a non-illuminated framed aluminum wall sign with applied vinyl graphics onto the eastern half of the primary north elevation of the building facing West Main Street. The proposed wall sign will be located in the exact location Wolf Hills Antiques wall sign was located, as shown in the rendering below. Colors used for the proposed wall sign include a white background with a black outer border, a gold inner border, and blue lettering with blue and yellow emblem as shown within that rendering. And then that wall sign is proposed to measure 28 inches by 90 inches for a total area of 17.5 square feet. And then wall signs are allowed a maximum area of 2 square feet for every 1 linear foot of building face in the B3 district. And the building space is approximately 25 linear feet, so they are allowed up to 50 square feet. So that sign does meet the standards of the ordinance.
All right, are there questions? What's the pleasure of the commission? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any additional discussion? If not, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And Mr. Schuman.
Aye. Next order of business is certificate of appropriateness, Legacy Bank, 498 Cummings Street, Abington, Virginia, 24210. Owner applicant, certificate of appropriateness for exterior changes located at 498 Cummings Street, Abington, Virginia, 24210, parentheses, parcel 105A-2-16B, in parentheses.
Legacy Bank owner and applicant have requested approval of a certificate of appropriateness to make exterior changes to the existing building. A little background, the existing business at the property is Legacy Bank, and the building was constructed in 1983. The existing building's envelope consists of a brick veneer laid in a running bond pattern and a mansard roof clad in standing seam metal, pre-finished a reddish-orange color. The applicant proposes to replace the existing asphalt ADA parking stall with a poured concrete slab and add the required concrete access aisle and curb ramp. The required ADA access aisle and curb ramp do not exist currently. Front walkway / curbing and all the covered drive-up concrete will be repaired. The remainder of the site's asphalt paving will be milled and a new top coat / sealer with new line striping will be installed. The exterior materials will consist of an ACM metal panels, ceramic tiles, existing brick, cement board siding, aluminum storefront doors and windows, aluminum brake metal flashing, and aluminum coping. The existing smaller storefront windows will be removed and replaced with wider storefront windows. And then exterior materials will use the colors red, blue, white, and gray. And then in your staff report, those have the full colors and descriptions of that. And then Mr. Christofari will pass around the materials. They brought samples for you to see. And then a front door will be installed on the south elevation, creating a new ingress and egress. A new factory constructed canopy system will cover a large portion of the front sidewalk and front door. The existing wall-mounted wall packs will be replaced with new wall packs, 1-for-1. The existing building's mansard roof will be removed and replaced with a flat roof. The new roof line will have varied elevations with the existing brick sections removed. The drive-up canopy columns on the west elevation will have their brick veneer removed. The existing steel posts will be painted, and the other two will be clad in new ACM metal panel. The existing roof signage on the north, west, and south elevations of the building will be removed and replaced with LED internally illuminated 3 remote mount channel letter sets and 5 cloud-style logos. Each set of channel letters will measure a total area of 35.3 square feet, and each logo will measure a total area of 11.87 square feet. Each metal raceway the signage is anchored to will match the color of the cladding used for that specific building face it is attached to. There will be no changes to the existing freestanding sign structure on Cummings Street. And then, so on the primary south elevation, there will be 1 white channel letter face set and 2 red/white logos for a total area of 59 square feet. On the west elevation, there will be 1 blue channel letter face set and 1 red and white logo for a total area of 47.17 square feet. And then on the east elevation, there's 1 blue channel letter face set and 1 red and white logo for a total area of 47.17 square feet. And then on the north elevation, 1 red-white logo for a total area of 11.87 square feet. And then all those signs do meet the standards of the ordinance in size. And then the existing light poles will be utilized and replaced with stainless steel light poles using natural satin. The new lights will be certified dark sky compliant with the height of the pole measuring 9.8 feet. The lights will meet the standards of the ordinance.
Questions for Mr. Conklin?
And then the applicant is here to speak on that.
How does this fit in with the entrance corridor overlay and the requirements of the overlay?
For changes, I mean, the lighting, like I said, that will meet the standards. You're allowed, I believe, up to 20 feet in height, and these are below 10 feet. All the signage meets the sign ordinance. And then color scheme is kind of up to you to decide. There is no specific standard for any colors. I don't think there's too much for us to explain further. It does meet all the rest of the zoning ordinance that we look at.
Any additional questions for Mr. Conklin? No. Okay, would the applicant like to make a presentation?
I will also say the applicant supplied a packet, if you want to look through that too while they're explaining.
Afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Barry Cunningham. I'm president and CEO of Legacy Bank.
We need your address as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a Tazewell County native. Don't hold that against me. 2593 Pounding Mill Branch Road, Pounding Mill, Virginia. So I commute back and forth. I spent all day today in our Hurley branch that got totally decimated by the flood. 100% loss. It's a pretty sad day in Buchanan County. But folks, as you can see, our branch on the left, I think we purchased that back in 2006. And since 2006, there's really been no major or any improvements to the outside. We're at a point where we feel like we just need to really and truly just, you see, it's quite a difference. We just feel like it needs a facelift. We want to make we want to put something in that will really make our customers proud and hopefully make the whole town of Abington proud. Something that's just a little bit more modern, without being way on the spectrum of modern. But definitely you can see it's a different look than what we have currently now. We plan to also, we're going to completely redo the inside. We're going to spend a pretty good amount of money, just honest truth, to give this branch a complete facelift inside and out. We're working with a firm called P.W. Campbell, representative here this evening. They're out of Pittsburgh. They basically, all they do is design banks all over the East Coast. We're going to be using all local contractors to do the job. P.W. Campbell will be the general contractor, but we're bidding out and going to use all local folks to do the work for us. So we're kind of excited about it. We think it's going to be something new for us and new for the town. But best way I can say it is when I talk to, I've been with the bank now about 2 years, and when I talk to folks and I tell them where I'm at, they say, well, that's a bank, it looks like an old Pizza Hut. Just to be honest, I get that comment I don't know how many times. So we're going to, but either way, we're kind of proud of the design. P.W. Campbell, we thought, did a really good job. Jerry Sign Company that we do all of our signs with is going to help us with the signage. And so we just, any questions you have of me, I'll be glad to answer.
Anybody have questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Additional discussion? Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion, we accept the application as presented.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any additional discussion? If not, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Schuman?
Aye. Thank you. All right, the next order of business is a public hearing, final plat, major subdivision, Town Center of Abingdon, LLC, P.O. Box 1158, Abingdon, Virginia 24212, owner applicant, Appalachia Design Services, 122 Keystone Drive, Bluntville, Tennessee, 37617, representative, final plat approval for a major subdivision in the General Business District B2, located at parcel 020-12-5. Staff report.
Figure we'd give Caleb a little break here for this one, and we'll jump in. So, Town Center of Abingdon LLC, owner/applicant, and Appalachia Design Services representative have requested approval of a final plat for a major subdivision located at parcel 020-12-5. The property is located within the General Business District. And so, background, the current businesses within the building within the complex is the Abingdon Town Center, shopping center. And they vary all kinds from restaurants to clothing, shoes, all that kind of stuff. And then, hold on a sec. Staff findings. Again, the applicant is proposing to subdivide parcel 020-12-5 into 3 parcels. That's what makes it a major subdivision. It's more than 2. So this was a major subdivision because it's 3. Lot 2A, 1.156 acres. Lot 2B, 5.022 acres. And lots 2C, 4.545 acres. There will be no change to the site or new construction at this time. So really they're just changing the boundary lines. That's all they're doing. No development, nothing else is really changing with the site. Section 10-2-4 streets. All streets in the proposed subdivision shall be designed and constructed by the subdivider in accordance with the minimum requirements of this chapter at no cost to the locality. Again, they're already built. They're not changing anything. They're not redeveloping it. Section 10-2-5 access. Whenever an area is divided into lots containing 1 or more acres, and such lots can be re-subdivided into smaller building lots, consideration must be given to the highway, street, and lot arrangement of the original subdivision so that additional local streets can be opened, which will permit a logical arrangement of smaller lots, easements providing for the future Opening and extension of such streets may, at the discretion of the town council, be made a requirement of the plat. Again, they're not redeveloping anything, it's just already built, it's already there. Other improvements, water lines, the water distribution system in the subdivision shall be as required and approved by the Washington County Service Authority. Mains shall be sized for adequate fire protection, and the number of fire hydrants and their spacing shall be in accordance with the adopted Virginia statewide fire prevention code, utilizing the table required number and spacing of 5 hydrants in the appendix. 5 hydrant locations and distribution. Again, they're not proposing to do any more new development, they're just changing the lines. Sewer, again, it's already built, they're not looking to change anything. Now, when they do, if there is a new development, then staff would look at it and make sure that all this is being completed. Stormwater, same thing, they're not changing anything. If they were, then staff would be looking at it, make sure that it goes within these sites, because this site's not in the entrance corridor, so you wouldn't even be reviewing this. It's just because they're doing a major subdivision, requires planning commission and town council review and approval. Streetlights, again, everything's there, and they're not proposing to do anything. So overall, everything's already built that they would need. It's just that they're just moving the lines. That's all they're doing. But because this is a major subdivision, they require approval from planning commission and then town council. So.
Does the applicant wish to make a presentation?
I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I don't have a presentation. Stephen Spangler, Chief Manager of Town Center of Abingdon LLC. It's a owned LLC of Marathon Realty Corporation, which is a wholly owned real estate subsidiary of KVAT Food Stores.
And address?
38 Compton, Bristol, Tennessee.
All right. Are there questions for Mr. Spangler?
The detention basin is like serving both lots, but it is now in one lot. Is there some agreement or something?
Yeah, we've got when we subdivided the Kmart, we've got a DECR in place, and we'll just amend that to
Okay.
reference this change in plat. But we've got lot 2A and 2B under contract right now to be sold, obviously contingent on this plat being
Okay.
approved. And I think the plans are to do something similar to what was done with the Kmart to the Food City.
Other questions for Mr. Spangler?
Are there any, existing, like, permitting or zoning restrictions that are applicable to these existing parcels from the previous shopping center development that, would carry over into these subdivided lots?
The DECR that we put in place has restrictions. The only other restriction would be those defined in the zoning regulations.
Yeah, I didn't, since we're talking about right now what is part of the existing parking space for the shopping center, and, you're carving lots out that include, parking spaces. If there was, a requirement for a certain number of spaces for the retail.
Sure, and I believe that's why when we went, they were originally looking to just purchase 2B, and I think that was a concern that they had. Obviously, their use or future use would be brought to look at parking ratios, that type of thing. But I
Yeah.
think they took down lot 2A just in the event they needed additional parking for what they intended to use it for. We had looked at that just as a future out parcel.
Yeah. Well, and, I realize some of that, the old Food City spaces, not actively in use in terms of active retail, but, are there gonna be enough parking spaces left to service the shopping
The
center?
Food City, when we operated there, it was pretty hefty parking ratio just for the nature of the business. But I would assume, based on their future use, when if they close on that and they do any kind of improvements or have a change of use, that they would have to come and get that approved. And again, I think that's why they were taking down lot 2A, just to have that as a contingency plan if they need additional parking spaces.
But if it's redeveloped, the people who bought it and own it would have to put in a parking plan, isn't that correct?
Yeah, so we would relook at their park. Now, again, it's based on what their use is.
Yes.
I don't know what their use is at this
Yep.
point. So they would have to conform to that, to the planning. But when we're out there, and we've been out there on site, there's a lot of parking. It's a wide just sea of asphalt, so I'm sure whatever use that would be there, they would have adequate parking. Especially, you know, they have to fit that in, there's landscape and everything, so. There's
Yeah.
not a use that I can think of that would be so intense in this area that would cause a mass amount of parking in that sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the planning commission would look at it, but part of that DECR is cross parking, obviously between all 4 lots. You have full rights to drive across and park across each of the lots.
Yeah, I guess it would just depend on, you know, the density, whatever development is taking place on those,
Yep.
potentially on those lots. But I didn't know if those lots were satisfying any existing requirements of, you know, the existing development.
To my knowledge, I don't think there's any special use permit or anything with this one, so there's no like special exception. I think it was
Okay.
just more of the parking was developed for that development at the time when it was put in place, and then obviously it's served its purpose, and then if somebody was to redevelop or somebody bought those parcels, they would go before, they
Yeah.
would submit a parking plan to staff, and we would all look at that. Since this is a property that you wouldn't necessarily ever review, in terms of design, it's just because they're coming for the boundary
The
line
split,
adjustment.
yeah.
But staff would ensure that it meets the current zoning, so, yeah.
Any additional questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Spangle.
Thank you.
I would like also just to say on the record, since I did get a phone call from somebody, they were asking, you know, they saw the signs in the parking lot, said, hey, what's going on? Are they rezoning? I said, no, they're just changing the lot lines, and they were perfectly fine with what was going on, so. They had no problems with it after they realized it was just a subdivision.
All right, need to open the public hearing, and I'll do that now. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to this issue? If not, I'll close the public hearing. And additional discussion from the Planning Commission? If not, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. If you would call the roll.
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Pennington?
Aye.
Mr. Sproles?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Schuman?
Aye. All right. Old business matters not on the agenda. Is there any old business or to
No.
bring up?
No, just that letter that you guys looked at and gave some comments on, we'll be getting that out in March, just to notify property owners in the entrance corridor that you are in the entrance corridor. So that, along with the HBRB one, will be going out at the same time. So, other than that, there's really nothing new on that side.
Gentlemen, does someone want to retrieve these samples? You're welcome to. Yeah. Excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt you.
I was gonna come in after.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to bring before the commission?
I just wanted to say, I noticed on these applications, one company that comes here often never puts who the owner is in the, they just put themselves and their contact information. I think everyone else puts the owner in, they should start doing that.
Yeah, that's just how they fill them out, but sometimes we have the owner on the GIS and we put it into their application.
I'm just saying, if the application requires it, it needs to be on there, not just the sign company again.
Really good.
Well, I think that's, I would agree that's important, because one of the things that would concern me at some point is there would be a denial or approval or something in a discussion, and then the owner would come in and say, oh, I didn't know about that. That, you know, that, I think we need to,
I think every one we looked at today, from that one company, just had the sign company information as the owner.
Okay, we'll relay that.
So, I mean, it's, I don't know.
now,
It
all
just
of these
seems
had
like-
the owners, all of these today did.
No, they didn't. the contact information is all the sign company. It may say the owner's name,
Yeah.
but
Oh, I
it
see.
doesn't
You-
have
you-
their contact information or anything.
Okay.
I think it just needs to be filled out how it's been requested to fill out, and
Complete.
that's just my
You're saying
opinion.
it needs to be
Yes.
complete.
Yeah, yeah, I'm old, I'm a stickler for things like this now.
Anybody have anything else for the good of the commission? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.